Super producer David Hentschel talks about working on Elton John's famous album, Goodbye Yellow Brick Road. I'm John Beaudin from Rock History Music. David Hentschel was right there in 1973, along with Gus Dudgeon, putting together Elton John's best album, according to many. It's certainly his biggest selling. 30 million copies have been sold of Goodbye Yellow Brick Road to this date. That's the album with Saturday Night's All Right for Fighting, the title song, Benny and the Jets, and Candle in the Wind, among many other great tunes. But it starts with Funeral for a Friend going into Love Lies Bleeding, this grand prog-like instrumental that David Hentschel put together. Here's the story.
I was mentioning to you on email that when I did this poll, which I think got 16,000 votes for Elton, I have to admit, as much as Funeral for a Friend and Love Lies Bleeding, I mean, what an intro to one of the greatest intros. And I don't know if it's fatigue for the hits or people just recognize it. And Elton John has, a lot of his deep tracks sound like hits. I mean, that's Elton John. And there was never enough time to release all those songs because they had to go to the next album 6 months later. But everyone wants me to ask this, and you've answered it many times, I'm sure, but how did you come up with that? I mean, what was the impetus for you? They were separate songs right in the beginning.
Yeah. The idea, well, it was always going to be a double album because he had so much material. And they'd already started, they had a go in Jamaica at recording it, and it didn't work out. It didn't pan out. The studio was a complete nightmare and all the rest of it.
Were you there in Jamaica?
No, Ken was there.
Okay.
Ken did that, went over there for that, ostensibly for that recording, but they were only there for about 2 days, I think. Anyway, by the time that had happened and they got back to England, the songs, Elton is prolific. We all know that. He writes, songs in 5 minutes. Unbelievable. And they had quite a lot of material by the time it was going to be the Yellow Brick Road album. And it was seen to be a double album. That was the thought. They thought they'd go for a double album. And because of some of the lyrics, the Danny Bailey, the Western influence, all those, so there's quite a few, Marilyn Monroe thing. An idea came up, really actually only as we were recording, I think, because Candle in the Wind was actually written at the Chateau while we were recording. It was written over breakfast one day, then we went across and recorded it. So the idea, someone came up with the idea of calling the whole thing Silent Movies and Talking Pictures. And then Gus thought, well, what about if we call it that, we'll have a little overture and maybe we'll put on like the 20th Century Fox or the MGM, the fanfare that they have at the end, at the beginning of every film, like the logo ident thing. And I think he approached a couple of studios and they wouldn't give us clearance to use it. So then he thought, well, if we can't use that, if it's obviously going to be a big work, why don't we have a little overture to it? And I'd already done quite a lot of synth stuff for Gus and for Elton, from Rocket Man onwards, basically. I played on pretty much all his records. So Gus said to me, do you think you could come up with an overture, just take some themes from the album and we'll make a synth thing. So that's how it started. I did that first. Elton had already done the piano, the part that comes in once the piano comes in. He'd already written that as a little instrumental piece. And Gus thought it'd be nice if I did something before that and it would dovetail together. And that's how it came about.
Props to you, because when that came out number one, because we put it down as one song, because they meld together. I was so pleasantly surprised, and so many people have seen the final video of that have said, "Yeah, right on, man," because it's getting its due. But it obviously says that the song still stands out today after all those years. So, you must be proud of that.
And absolutely. And he went on to use it after the album became successful. He used it to open all his live shows for about 5 years.
More from David Hentschel coming up next week. Remember, if you want to support our channel, and we're getting, as you know, now more interviews going out because we're hiring students to edit the videos, and we need to get them out as fast as you can because we're like 20, 25 interviews behind. And so my son Chase and I are basically hiring students to edit the videos. How do we pay them? Well, we pay them with the money we get from you buying t-shirts. If you buy a t-shirt, you support this channel, and we can hire more students to edit these videos to get them out to you faster. And if you like, send us a picture of you wearing the t-shirt. We'll feature it on this channel. Make sure you comment on our video, subscribe to our channel, and share our videos. Remember, more from David Hentschel next week. I'm John Beaudin from Rock History Music.